What's good? It's your boy Chikara. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to make a song like Mike X, Nic D type of vibe in that ballpark. Let's get into it.
I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying inside. And I don't wanna let it pass, but I know that we're fading fast.
First off, let's dissect the intro here. Start with this guitar. Repeats, and we have this layer as well at the beginning. Then we bring in this layer. As well as the hi-hat and the snare. We got those. That goes for 8 bars here, and then we bring in the vocals, which is my boy Josh B. Here's what that sounds like.
Yeah, if I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run?
So what we got going on, we also bring in this layer here. It's like an atmospheric pad that just adds to the complexity and the overall vibe. And then we got the strum guitar. You know, in this case, it sounds like probably a double track guitar with muted strings, holding the hands lightly on the strings with the plucking hand. So you're covering the strings and getting a little bit more of that muted sound, probably playing some power chords and then panning it left and right. So we got that. Also, shout out Lay Beats for the guitar loops, etc. He created the melodies, the guitar on this song. Very fire. That's the instrumental. Aside from coming into the chorus, we have this swell right here. And we're going to come down to the vocal, show you what we did to Josh's vocal.
If I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up.
First off, we have RX10 mouth declick. This is something that I don't use a lot anymore because it uses an insane amount of processing power, but it's just the AI plugin that automatically removes the mouth clicking sounds. Soundgoodizer, I always put on my vocals, put it on C. Don't put it too high or else it sounds funky, so just put it, 45%. Whatever sounds good. Experiment with your vocal. Your voice will sound different. Auto-tune, I usually keep it pretty low. It just helps the vocal sit in the key better. RVox, this is a vocal compressor, and I use the in-your-face vocal preset typically for the main vocal. It makes the vocal sound a lot more forward in the mix and in your face. Fresh Air is an underrated VST that is completely free. Vocal bus presence is the preset, and then I mess with these. It just adds a little bit of presence and clarity. It makes the vocal pop a little bit more in the mix. It makes it sound like it was recorded on a bit of a higher end of mic, regardless of what it was recorded on. Pro Q is the equalizer, which we just use the vocal preset, which brings these up a little bit. And we use a low cut to cut off a lot of the low end so that it's not too bassy and muddy up the mix. Valhalla Vintage Verb, it's just a reverb VST. I have this down about 25, 26, whatever. And then on the reverb, we have the preset Jonas Brothers Sucker at 56.4%. That's the reverb that it's similar to. So after all of those things, here's what it sounds like before and after.
Yeah, if I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run?
And here is after.
Yeah, if I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run?
Okay, so we got that layer, and then we also have this backing layer.
Yeah, if I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again.
What I did is I processed the vocal very similarly. The only difference is I have Soothe 2 because there's a little bit of harshness in the vocal. Soothe 2 is a good plugin for calming some of those resonant frequencies that don't sound good in the mix down. There's a lot of presets you can experiment with, but I use the vocal warmer preset. And then on RVox, I didn't use in-your-face vocal preset. I used good vocal, which you don't want it to be in your face because it's a supporting vocal. I only had one layer from Josh B. I would have preferred to double track left and right, 2 separate recordings. But to make up for that, I used Fruity Stereo Shaper and I turned it up so that it makes it sound more wide in the stereo image. And then on Valhalla Vintage Verb, I put the vocal width preset at 37%. Here's what it sounds like before and after those last two additions.
If I fall, will you catch me? If I fall, will you catch me?
If you look here, you can hear kind of what this fruity stereo shaper does.
If I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run?
Just makes it sound more wide. And then we have some little vocals that I recorded to make it sound a little bit more full.
If I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run? Now I'm not who I...
Very similar processing, sound goodizer, RVox with the not in your face vocal, good vocal, fresh air, Pro Q, vintage verb on a different preset, but only at 11%. Always for background vocals and or harmony vocals, I always suggest recording 2 of the same take, panning one all the way to the left and panning one all the way to the right. It just makes it sound a lot more full and professional in a way. So that's what we have. And then we also have this ad-lib vocal. This is what it sounds like.
Will you catch me? Don't run, baby.
So again, the processing is very similar up until this point, that of which I put on a equalizer, cut off some of the high end because I don't want it to come through so much in the mix. And then I use Soundly Place It, which is another underrated VST for music production. It's mostly designed for sound design and film and video editing because there's all these presets that make it sound like it's coming out of a different speaker or happening in a different area. For example, PA system in an airport, a museum, phone on, on ear, police radio on a car. All these things, you select a preset and it makes the sound like it's coming out of that thing. So if I take off these last two.
Will you catch me? Don't run, baby. When you met me.
So that's what that does. It just makes ad-lib sound cool sometimes. And then I put on Pan Man, Valhalla Vintage Verb. Pan Man, this is a preset that is an automatic panner. You select it's a VST that is an automatic panner. You select a preset and it will pan the vocal left and right and just make it sound cool and fill up the stereo image more. It goes from left to right. You can really hear it if you use headphones. This is what that does.
Will you catch me? Don't run, baby. When you met me.
So yeah, Valhalla Vintage Verb on vocal width at 54%. That's what we have in terms of the vocals for the intro. And then coming into the chorus, let's break down what we have here. I'm going to turn off my vocals. We'll listen to the beat first, break that down, break down the vocals. Let's go.
Instead, you're still the one.
So, same guitar in the intro. And then we have this guitar. Which is kind of the same thing, just a little bit of an undertone of it. And we have that. I believe that's the root note in a higher octave of the key. So let's say this song's in G, that would be G, playing kind of repeatedly, but then jumping up a note. Very quiet. You don't really hear it unless you're like listening for it. So there's that, helps sound more full. Then we got the strum guitar. And we got the drums here, a little bit different. As you can hear, the snare's the same. The hi-hat pattern's a little bit different. We have these rolls here. If you're not familiar, you can click on the paintbrush thing here, and you can just roll hi-hats to your heart's desire. You can just paint like that. So anyway, just experiment. Don't copy my thing exactly. You can if you want to, whatever. But adding some hi-hat rolls definitely makes it more interesting. And then we have our 808 and kick drum. We have a slide here, which sounds kind of cool. The kick, I mostly just hit at the same time as the 808 with a few different kicks just to add some bounce, like that right there, etc. That's what that sounds like. Then we have a crash to make it sound more hard hitting when it comes in. Then we got this open hat. Yeah, so here's what it sounds like all together. Listen for the individual components now that you know what they are. That's what we got there. And then let's listen to buskin vocal.
Sometimes, but you make it alright. I said,
here's what the vocal sounds like alone.
I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying inside.
Very similar processing to Josh B's vocals, so I don't need to go too in depth here. We have Sound Goodizer on the same, RVox on the same. Well, we don't have it on In Your Face vocal, we have it in Good vocal. Fresh Air, 22, 12. Again, it kind of depends on the microphone that you record on, how much you want to add. Because if you already have a microphone with a lot of high end, you don't want to add too much. So definitely experiment with your microphone. Cut off the low end, bring up the high end. Fall Hall Vintage Verb. This is a different preset. Pop vocal at 7%. And here's what it sounds like before and after. Before.
Said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying.
And after.
I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying inside.
And then we have the supporting vocal on the chorus.
I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying.
I'm not going to break down the processing on that because it's kind of all the same. You just need to adjust to your ear and your own voice or your artist voice. I will tell you, I double tracked it, so we have one left and one right.
I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying inside.
So when you add them all together, it just sounds more full. Here's what it sounds like with the beat.
I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying inside. And I don't wanna let it pass, but I know that we're fading fast. We fading fast, yeah.
And then here on the verse, we have some layers of the vocal again. Same type of thing. I recorded 2 double track vocals to make his vocal sound more full.
We fading fast, yeah. Thought we would last, yeah. Turns out the past isn't always in the past, yeah.
A little bit of harmony that goes off of the main note, which I will show you shortly. One other thing I want to mention, if you use this razor tool and you hold down on Alt, you can a lot more precisely cut at an angle. So what I like to do is if I didn't record the vocals perfectly, as you can see, I've kind of already done it. I've moved them to match exactly to the main vocal. So that's a little bit of sauce when you're trying to edit to make your main vocal sound fuller. And if it sounds messy, it might be because your additional vocals aren't sitting exactly on your main vocal. So you might need to use this razor tool. Hold Alt while you drag, cut it, and then use the pencil. You can hold down Control to select those vocals, and then hold down Shift while you use your scroll wheel over the vocal to move it, to zoom in and line it up precisely with the main vocal. Anyway, I did that for a lot of the verse. As you can see, there's a lot of supporting layers here and harmonies. I won't break down all of them because I already kind of did, you know.
Not him, and I do things you don't like to, that even though I've been working.
That's just what they sound like. The main vocal is the same as Josh B's on the chorus. Then we have the backing vocal. Same processing as the chorus. Let's see what we did with the verse here. Always in the first verse, I like to break it down and slow it down. That's something that Mike and Nic D, I think, is pretty common in that style. Here's what the beat sounds like. Let me turn off the vocals. Bring in the hi-hat for the second half. So that's something that I think is a continuous theme in mostly any genre. You want to have a driving factor where it builds up. It's kind of a repeating cycle of chill out, build up, build up, build up, build up, chorus, da-da-da-da-da, chill out again, repeat. And you want to break it down. Sometimes you might have a bridge towards the 3/4 part of the song where it really chills out again, and that allows the final chorus to hit that much harder. Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to structure these videos so I don't go too in depth, but I also give you guys as much information to help you guys create your own songs as possible. So Hopefully it's been helpful. I will show you on the pre-chorus / bridge thingy. I have these cool sounds that make it sound more spiced up, I guess. Here's what we got on the instrumental. As you can hear, there's a high pass on it, which is cutting off the high end to a certain degree, so it sounds a little bit, if I had to guess, it might be a Fruity Love filter, something similar. Yeah, just break up and change the vibe a lot on the pre-chorus to help the song from getting stale. What we have is a swell into a riser that's kind of more of a transitional sound you can hear here. And then I have these loops here that I think sound cool and make it sound more full. I have Pan Man on this one. Not at 100%. But again, that's just panning it around to make the stereo image sound more full, add some variety. This one I have Decapitator, which is a distortion plugin that makes it sound a lot fatter. Here's what it sounds like before. After. Cut off a lot of the high end, boost the low end. Yeah, so that's about it. And then I repeat, same old thing on the chorus, nothing new. We got a second verse and the final thing, but I'm not going to break that down because you just follow the same pattern, change up the lyrics, change up the vocals, etc. Hope that was helpful. Appreciate the view. If you enjoyed it and if you learned anything, please hit like and subscribe so I know that it's helping people and I should keep making tutorials like this one. Drop in the comments if you have a suggestion for artist or style that you'd like me to make a video on how to make that style of music. Appreciate you guys for watching. Have a great day. Here's the full song.
If I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run? Now I'm not who I was when you met me, but I promise that you're still the one. I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying inside, and I don't wanna let it pass us, but I know that we're fading fast. We fading fast, yeah. Thought we would last, yeah. Turns out the past isn't always in the past, yeah. Can't take it back, but I can't put you last, and I need you to see if we don't change, we gonna crash, yeah. You think that I'm not him, and I do things you don't like to, and that even though I've been working, I've been trying to make things right. When I write, workload turn days into night, night turn into the morning. We fight, maybe we just need a break, maybe a little space gon' make us right, yeah. If I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run? Now I'm not who I was when you met me, but I promise that you're still the one. I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright. I said I'm fine, but I'm dying inside, and I don't wanna let it pass us, but I know that we're fading fast. I know I told you lies, so many sleepless nights. I sat here crying, I'm trying to make it right, and I don't wanna let it pass us, but I know that we're fading fast. When I trip and I fall, will you be there to catch me? I don't know. If I gave you my all, now would that make you happy? I don't know. And I've tried everything to make you see the brighter side, and I can't change your mind, but I'll still put up a fight. Yeah, if I fall, will you catch me? If I mess up again, will you run? Now I'm not who I was when you met me, but I promise that you're still the one. I said it hurts sometimes, but you make it alright.